Good evening. RCMP are asking for your help finding a 33-year-old Lloydminster man wanted on several charges. Trevor Michael Ohlenberger is charged with unauthorized possession of a firearm, careless storage of a firearm, and possession of stolen property under $5,000. Now, if you see Ohlenberger, please say you should not approach him. Instead, call Lloydminster RCMP at 306-825-6350 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. Occupational Health and Safety has issued a stop work order following a serious workplace injury at a Lloydminster tire shop. 17-year-old Canadian tire worker was airlifted to hospital in Saskatoon on Sunday with a head injury. This after a tire exploded while he was changing it. Now, Lisa Glover with OHS says the stop work order is for any work involving tires, but it's not necessarily a punitive measure.
Just issued when we get to the scene as a means of we need to gather some information, so we just need to have the scene secured and have nothing going on around it at the time. Sometimes it could be a matter that there is some sort of deficiency that needs to be addressed.
The stop work order will be lifted once any issues have been resolved and investigators have everything they need from the scene.
Involve things such as taking photos, taking measurements, interviewing any witnesses, interviewing the employer, gathering documentation, speaking to the worker when it's possible.
The injured 17-year-old employee remains in hospital and his condition has not been released. Well, the growing volume of traffic on Highway 28 is becoming a big concern for many motorists in the Lakeland who fear 28 will be the next Highway 63. And that has Alberta Premier Alison Redford speaking out on the issue. Now, the oil industry continues to boom in northeastern Alberta, creating long lineups of traffic on the highway. It's causing impatient drivers to take chances that put everyone on the roads at risk.
We know that roads are critical, not only for economic growth in the oil patch, but also for agricultural services in this part of the world. So we're committed to making sure that the road system continues to be strong. We will look to alternative financing models.
Well, over the past year, local leaders have been pressuring the province to address the issues before the problems escalate.
We certainly understand that it's an issue. That's how Rick McIver is approaching it, our Minister of Transportation, and we'll continue to do that work to make sure that we're creating an integrated regional road network in this part of the world so that we don't end up with those situations again.
Now, there's still no timetable as to when motorists could see a possible solution. Tighter rules to the temporary foreign worker program has been met with contention by many business owners in the region. Now, changes that went into effect on July 31st include a $275 processing fee per position, along with new language and advertising requirements. Now, our unemployment rate is between 3 and 4% lower than the national average, making it difficult for employers to find full-time workers. Kim Smith sat down with the Member of Parliament for Vegreville-Wainwright, Leon Benoit, to talk about the changes. Now, the MP also clarifies some issues surrounding constituency boundaries.
The federal government in the spring announced tighter rules to the temporary foreign worker program. Just recently, further changes have been announced. Do you want to sort of explain what the reason for this is?
Yeah, first of all, the reason is that we're getting public backlash from people who say that employers are hiring temporary foreign workers without giving them a fair shot at the jobs. And I know in the Lloydminster area it's not a valid complaint because certainly employers give every opportunity. They love to hire local. And but it just there just aren't people, quite frankly, who are willing to take jobs in the service sector.
With the unemployment rate in our region being so much lower than the national average, do you think that we need a regional approach?
A regional approach, yeah, I don't think you're going to have different rules for different regions of the country, but you don't need that. I think the way the rules work, they tend to work better for areas that have lower unemployments.
Now, what about someone who owns a business in Lloydminster and is struggling to find workers and maybe relied on these temporary foreign workers, but now it's more difficult for them to find workers? Yeah,
it may or may not be. I wouldn't say it's necessarily more difficult. Certainly a lot of the employers in this part of the country would have had the accelerated labor market opinion process. Hopefully, temporarily eliminating that won't cause too much of a delay, and I'm not convinced that it will.
Is there going to be an opportunity for business owners to express their opinion?
Yeah, we've actually had roundtables across the country. I was going to hold one in Lloydminster, kind of in conjunction with the Chamber, but the date we had just didn't work for the Chamber. That would have been next week, I think, or the week after, early September. And but there have been roundtables and other types of meetings across the country. I have held meetings around the constituency on this issue already. I've met with employers around the constituency.
Now, switching gears here now, you've been mentioning that you've been hearing some confusion from people in your riding as to where the boundaries are. Do you want to clarify what's happening there?
Yeah, I mean, the boundaries for Vegreville-Wainwright constituency stay in place until the next election. You can't change boundaries between elections. People in a constituency elect their member of parliament for the complete parliament. And the next election will be October 19th, 2015. So it's still more than 2 years till the next election. So I will remain member of parliament for Vegreville-Wainwright constituency at least until October 19th, 2015. Certainly after the next election, the boundaries will change. Vegreville-Wainwright constituency will be a part of 3 other new constituencies. So, that's a change that's happened twice before in my political career.
Do you have plans to run in one of the new ridings?
There's a very good chance that'll be the case. I'm not ready to announce anything for some time still. I mean, maybe as we approach 6 months before the next election, I'll make it clear what my intentions are. But I like what I'm doing. I think what I'm doing is important, and I plan on continuing. So.